Okay, welcome back to part 2 of I broke my EMG Sandviper. So I took suggestions from the last video I posted into account and had a chat with a few people about the best way of fixing this, and it seemed like the resounding result was epoxy was the way to go. I know that one of the things that were recommended to me by multiple people, and one of the people in the comments was also using something like a grub screw to drill and tap and all of that stuff. But I was warned off of doing that because apparently the outer barrel that I'm doing this all to is also quite well known for fracturing, splintering, and just snapping in general. So drilling a hole and trying to tap a hole into it would maybe not be the best idea, as it's just another weak point to break. So I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and show as much of it on camera as I can. It's the process of stripping the gun apart, preparing the area, epoxying it, and then letting it dry. I don't have much to stick on my desk right now, so you might see me throw like a spare mouse pad in. I'm actually going to grab one now, actually. So I think I have a spare one here. So I think for this episode we're going to use an old mouse mat that already has a bunch of stains on it. This is from when we had Minty the parrot in the room with us. This one is a bit old and nasty, so I think we're actually going to do this on here today. Instead, it's an old razor mouse mat, so if we get any epoxy on this, it can just go in the bin. Awesome. So first things first, need to disassemble the gun. So for any of you that haven't taken apart a high capper style gun before, because this is a high capper style gun, removing this bit here is just a line to mark up and slide in the front off. This can be put well out of the way for the rest of the time we're doing work, because I don't want to get anything on there. Sorry if you can hear the squeaking in the background, that's my dog downstairs going mental with his brand new toy. So next thing, we need to remove the internals. Now I've decided I'm going to try and do this completely removing the internals. And my logic behind that is I'm worried that when I start putting epoxy in this, it's going to catch around the inner barrel here, because I'm going to put epoxy around the outside of the compensator here. I'm worried if I get epoxy attaching to that, I'll end up gluing the inner barrel to the outer barrel, and then it won't work. So, depressing the recoil spring, and then pushing forwards, and I'm going to try and take the inner barrel out first. So that's there. I'm going to give that a good wipe because that's absolutely covered in lubricant currently. And then it's the recoil spring coming out next, which is also absolutely drenched in lubricant. I have probably over-lubed a lot of this. And then this then can then slide completely out of the end. So it's a fully disassembled slide now, and we're just left with the outer barrel, with the bit we need to glue to. Now, I have got some, I don't have what you probably actually need for this, which is some good kind of towel just to wipe all of the, any and all lubrication off of this, just to make sure that we're using a clean surface. I probably should have brought some kind of methylated spirits or something like that just to strip this completely clean. However, from the feel of it, this is pretty clean inside of here already, and it's not got any grease on it. Same with the end of this piece here. With epoxy, it does tell you to make sure the area is clean, but also roughed up. So I've filed away at this, as you can probably see all the marks I've made with the file. So that should hopefully give it a bit more grip. And then I'm just going to have a go with this old file here, just roughing up the inside. Hopefully this, if there's any old stuff in there too, it's going to get rid of any of the old rubbish and gunk in here from what was originally glued on. I've actually looked, and apparently they're just using like regular ass glue, which is just absolutely baffling to me, that you've got like an airsoft replica that you're charging a fair whack of money for, and you're just using regular glue. You're not even like attaching it on with something like industrial grade. Like they've just been like, oh yeah, Gorilla Glue will be fine, we'll go with that. Right, so that's thoroughly roughed up inside and out now. Now, this I've never used before. I have used epoxy before, but not quick drying stuff, and definitely nothing that sets in 30 seconds. And most of the stuff that I've used before has actually been along the lines of, oh god, how do I describe it? It's been along the lines of, you get 2 individual tubes, you squirt them onto a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard, you mix them with like a toothpick and then you apply it with the toothpick. That's what I've been doing in the past. This one is completely foreign to me because you've got a nozzle that guarantees that the epoxy gets mixed, and you only can use that once, it has to go in the bin, then a cap that goes over the end. So basically you can use this twice, which I think is pretty crazy. However, again, people have said that you can just squirt this onto something, mix it up, and then use it quickly, but it sets and holds in place in 30 seconds, which I thought was pretty damn balmy. So, just need to make sure that this is going to fit in the way I want it to. Now, I've decided I'm going to leave a gap. I'm not going to push this flush, and then that means that there's less wear and tear on the gun hitting that. There will be a gap in the finished product, but I'd rather there be a gap than excess stress. That's the plan. So this should twist off the end, I think is the plan. Don't want to force it and then shoot like toxic fluids all across my room. There we go. So I'll stick that in that box over there. Careful not to get it all over my hands. Well, that's not ideal. Oh, there we go. And then twist. That's on there firm. Okay. So I'm thinking applying it to here is going to be better than applying it to the, although applying it to the inside seems like that is also a good idea too. I'm going to apply it to the inside. What the hell? So it says gently apply pressure. Okay, so at this point, unfortunately, the plunger on the epoxy tube was not working properly. I'm recording this in post, so I'm cutting this section out, so you won't see the 5 minutes of me wrestling with the epoxy dispenser, and instead you'll just see me starting to apply it for the fix. So by the looks of it, the plunger was just stuck. So I'm going to squeeze a bunch of it onto the cardboard. Just to get to the point where it's actually mixed. And then squeeze a little bit around the inside of here, just to make sure we're thoroughly applied. And then leave that there, and then let's, sorry if this is really janky for those of you at home watching, slide this on. And then I'm just going to push down slightly. There we go, perfect. Now, I don't know if there's any excess chilling out anywhere it shouldn't be. However, no, we're all clean inside. So, theoretically speaking, this should now be absolutely fine and hold everything it's supposed to do. And in an hour's time, we should be able to come back. So in 30 seconds it should hold in place, and in an hour's time it should be completely set. Or at least that's what it says. So I'll take the cap off the end, and then stick on the special protective cap, which is this one here. So that's the cap on now, and I'll stick that back in there with the other syringe. I don't think it leaked anywhere, which is pretty good. Let me leave this out of the way for now. And hopefully this should set nicely, and it should be completely iggle piggle wiggle free. Let me reinstall it back in the gun. I reckon I'd probably reinstall it back in the riff right now, because it says it dries firm in 30 seconds, so that's pretty darn quick. The epoxy that's here on the side has mostly solidified into a gunk now. Yeah, so that's getting to the point where it is. I'll actually show you if I can. Luckily, I think the bit of epoxy that I actually got on the end of my file, luckily for us, wasn't mixed, so it's just one of the chemicals. I'll leave that there for a minute. I don't think it's going to glue it to the side, but you can give you an idea of what this actually looks like now. There's probably just been a bit of a B-roll here, so you can just fast forward ahead if you really want. But yeah, that's already dried pretty well there. I'm going to go chuck that in the bin in a minute. I do think the nozzles are pretty stupid though, because I feel like that's like the worst way of mixing epoxy is through one of those nozzles, because you only get 2 uses, but we'll have to see what happens. So I will be back soon to show you the end result. Okay then guys, so welcome back. This is about a day later, so I'm about a day after where I have left off. For the process of the epoxy curing, I did check on it every couple of hours just to see if there's any wiggle or any movement inside of this piece whatsoever, and I can tell you that is thoroughly stuck. I must admit, actually, comparing it to when this was brand new, so had just come out of the box, I think that's sturdier than what it was out of the box, because even out of the box there was a bit of wiggle in there. So I'm going to pop everything back together now. So inner barrel first being. Now the only concern I do have is everything slotting together neatly. However, that does look pretty good. So if I remember correctly, it is that, then the spring, which we'll stick in if everything gets out of the way. Oopsie daisy. Immediately messed up. Don't do what I'm doing, because I'm not great at my job here. So get the spring in the right way. Awesome. Just press the string and then drop that down, and drop the inner barrel and hop unit in without damaging the nozzle. And then slide all this in together here, so if I can show you there. So that is all in one piece now, and slide that so everything fits nicely. And let go of the spring slightly. That is the slide back together again. Now this is where it will go horribly wrong, I reckon, because I've yet to put this back together. So you're seeing this in real time after the fix, and I'm terrified that when I slide this on, it will not be free moving. So that is a good sign. So everything moving freely is a good sign. That's good. Okay. Oh, that was perfect. Okay, by the looks of it, I've managed to get that perfect. Oh, that was. I am very glad that this has gone well. So, gluing it back into place. If I lock the slide back quick, gluing it back into place, I've left. That focuses a small gap, which hopefully you guys should be able to see there. And by the looks of that small gap, that means now if I stick my, I'm gonna be stupid here and stick my fingernail in the way. Yeah, so that now when the bolt slides forwards, if I stick my fingernail in the way and pull forwards, when I'm releasing it, that's having no contact whatsoever. So that was a much more simple fix than I thought it was going to be. Now I am playing with this tomorrow, so as we speak right now we're kind of on Friday. I've got a game day tomorrow where I'm going to be taking Colin the Caterpillar out for the first time, so that's a bit of a spoiler for a future episode for one of the build projects that I'm running, so a bit of a spoiler there for you all. But I'm going to be taking a build out that I've just finished making, which I've filmed all the videos for already. They'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I'm taking this out tomorrow, so I'm doing a pistol-only day tomorrow. I'm leaving everything else at home. I'm travelling light. Tomorrow's about 25 degrees, so I don't want to be too hot. So I'm travelling pretty light tomorrow, so I will let you guys know exactly how everything goes. The only thing I'm going to do now, which I will do off camera rather than on camera, is I'm going to clean the barrel and the hopper out so that there's no gunk or anything in there, just because I know when I took the whole gun apart it was quite over lubricated all over, so I'm going to fix that issue, and then hopefully tomorrow we should see some good performance out of this then, and you guys will have had a mildly good fix video. This is the first time I've done a video where I've fixed something as I've been filming it, so I'm sorry if the content's not been great, or you've maybe not been able to see things as clearly as I hope to. But hopefully that's given you a good idea of an issue and a fix. So we have had the compensator break off of a pistol. We've used, I've shown you hopefully the process of how to prepare, glue, and then reassemble the gun afterwards. So hopefully that is useful for you all. And for any of you at home that have had this break on you as well, which again it seems to be a common issue, hopefully that has provided you guys in some way support. I do apologise if things haven't been the clearest or there's been bits I've missed out. If you have any major issues, pop them in the comments section. So if you get to a point during this process and you're fixing your own piece of gear, let me know. And if I've not included something or you're unsure about how I did it, and I will add one last bit on the end of this video. So I will do a very quick piece on the end of this video that I'll cut in just a second, explaining how the fix went on its first game day after some heavy usage. Okay then, one last piece of the video I said I'd stick on the end very quickly was a quick feedback after a game day. So here we are kind of over a week later after filming the last set of the video. And it held together really nicely, so I'm going to very quickly just pull this apart for you all just to show you how everything is still sitting very nicely where it's supposed to be. Okay, as of current everything is super solid, nothing is wobbling whatsoever, although I have just pulled that out of the way. So if I just pull this forwards, I can't move anything on this front end here. This is tough and in currently, so I don't think there's anything to worry about now moving forwards with that fix, just sticking that compensator back on. The only thing that I would probably change now, if I could figure out a way to do it, but I don't think it's going to be really possible, is that there's a bit of give with the connection point back here. I kind of get it in closer and I move it backwards and forwards. Now I think that bit of give is probably what's going to keep everything safe from smashing into each other and doing damage, so that bit of give is important. However, if there was a way I could stop that without then causing further issues, that would be good. But by the looks of it, it already has a bit of wear and tear on that point, so probably this bit of give is the only thing stopping it from breaking itself. So yeah, the fix worked pretty well. So if you guys have had a compensator break off on your EMG Tarran Tactical Sandviper, then that is the best course of action to take, is just epoxying it back down. Like I said, there was another suggestion that was made that I thought was very relevant, which was the grub screw idea. So drilling, tapping and putting a grub screw in to hold it in place. I would probably say the only thing I would avoid for doing that is just the amount of people who have when their original compensator glue came apart and the end came off, a lot of people reported cracked out of barrels as well, because the out barrels are so fragile. So I maybe wouldn't suggest doing the grub screw part, just out of feedback from other airsofters saying that there's a chance that you're gonna end up putting too much stress on the out barrel and cracking that. And from what I hear, there's not many alternatives out there for you to be able to repair your airsoft a replica for this afterwards. So once that outer barrel's cracked and gone, most people don't have an alternative. I have seen one of these recently, however, pop up on Reddit with a 3D printed part in there as well, so who knows, there could be future more viable options. But hopefully that's been instructional for you. I know this video is going to be a bit choppy and changey. I'm filming this during the hottest time of the year so far, so it's been quite hard to film and get all of this stuff down for you, but I do want to make sure I'm regularly uploading still for everybody to have something at least to watch every week. So hopefully you've enjoyed that and have a lovely afternoon.